Oh, hello.
That's a new thing.
That is new. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Use the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. Renee and I are in Seattle. Sarit and Itamar are in London. Where are you? Let us know. Let us know what you're doing for Memorial Day weekend. Are you going somewhere? I know lots of people are venturing out. Took my parents to the airport this morning and it was packed. I couldn't believe it. Hello, hello. Sacramento, California, Veronica, welcome. All right, we'll give it a few more seconds and then we'll get started. All right. Oh, hello. Seattleite living in London, Oakton, Virginia. Hello, welcome. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Laura Hamilton. I have a cookbook shop here in Seattle, Washington that's called Book Larder. And we have a kitchen in our space. And in typical times, we have author events there. In fact, we had the great pleasure of hosting Sarit and Itamar, today's guests, at the shop 2 summers ago for their last book. And we also teach cooking classes in the space. We hope to be doing that again in the next few months. But for the time being, we have taken our author talks to Zoom. So thank you for joining us today. One of the great parts of that is that we can have conversations like the one today, where even though the authors can't travel and are in another country even, they can still join us. And you can join us from all over the world. So thank you so much for being here. I am so delighted to welcome Sarit Packer and Itamar Srulovich to our author talks. They are most recently the authors of this wonderful book, Chasing Smoke, Cooking Over Fire Around the Levant. They are going to be in conversation with Seattle chef and fellow fan of wood-fired cooking, Renee Erickson. They are going to talk about the book, and of course, we'll leave time to answer questions. If you have questions, please use the Q&A button in the chat, or excuse me, rather than the chat, to ask your questions, because it makes it easier to keep track of. You can use the chat to talk to each other, and then use that Q&A if you have questions for Sarit and Itamar. The book is, of course, available at booklarder.com, and I will put a link to that in the chat. By buying it from Book Larder, you support us. So thank you so much for everyone who's done that so far, and thank you for doing so if you're considering it. And this talk is also being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel afterwards. We will send that link to everyone who signed up for the talk, so you can share it with others, or you can go back and watch it again if you're so inclined. All right, so without further ado, please join me in welcoming Sarit Packer and Itamar Srulovich and Renee Erickson.
Oh, good. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
How's
You guys
it
look
been?
so fresh, much fresher than us.
Well, it's 11 there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at the end of the day. We're at the tail end of the day.
I love it. How's London? How's everything?
Well, today was our first day of sunshine
In a month.
in a month. We had terrible weather,
It's been rough.
but I think Seattle is the same in that the minute that the sun comes out, everything is fantastic. Everyone is so happy.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's optimistic and joyful, and so this was our day today. It was a good day.
Today was good.
Yeah, it was a good day.
We're easy to please when it comes to that, right?
All we need is
Just like-
sunshine.
Just
Yeah,
sunshine and a nice beverage. We're good.
yeah.
It's
I love
true.
Well, this, I'm so thrilled to have.
Yay.
Congratulations. It's beautiful. I want to cook. I'm starting to plan my weekend is what I'm trying to do and currently, but I keep getting distracted. I'll read something and then I'm like, what is that? So it's so much fun to see. I commend you for keeping it a secret. How on earth did you do that? I'm the worst. I just like blab on and on about what I'm up to, and you guys like threw this out into the world, and it was like, what? How did you manage? I love it. Congratulations.
I think
Thank you,
we were contractually.
I think, yeah.
Oh, no.
I think the contract says do not talk, so
Yeah.
we don't.
Oh, wow.
But it's actually been a long time in the making, hasn't it? We started
2018.
the end of 2018 is when we
Yeah.
started doing the trips, specific trips to these countries we had decided on going to. So we kind of went to Turkey, Greece, Jordan, Egypt, and Israel.
Yeah.
And yeah, first trip was like tail end of 2018, and then we spent quite a lot of 2019, you know, on planes, backwards and forwards, traveling when it was all free and fancy free, and
Very
we never,
easy, yeah.
never imagined what would happen in 2020, and then suddenly, you know, suddenly everything stopped, and we had to sit down and write our book.
But I'm glad that we sort of managed to get it just in the nick of time before everything closed.
That's
Get
pretty
a-
fabulous. I know, to have, you know, I think obviously a book on food that focuses on travel, you have to be there. Otherwise it's terrible. So I think it's such a beautiful way. I mean, it's for sure my favorite way of looking at food is through the eyes of someone visiting a place or like talking about their home. And I think both of that, you know, both of those ideas are really absolutely what makes this book so special is the connection you have with the people that are giving you the recipes and, you know, teaching you things, which I love.
It was incredible to do.
Right. I have a whole list of questions, but so I feel like we're similar people in how we travel. And so I want to talk, first, I want to hear all the stories about the markets that you've been to. You know, how broad is that? But like, it's such a, for me, it's exactly the way I want to like land in a place is go to a market. And I love the opening story of you driving from, I think it was from the airport in Egypt. And had also been listening to all your great podcasts about this trip, all these trips, and the story of the very long car ride and then getting like stopped and hauled into some place to eat something. So I think, you know, I love your willingness to just be like, you know, like pull over and, you know, like, what is that? So I think, you know, like, you know, you talk about like the smell that you find and that like drives you to some place to experience something. And I think, you know, I don't know if you want to, if there's like a market in general that you blew your mind more than another, but I would love to hear that because that selfishly, I'm very curious.
I mean, we have kind of our two like golden rules of travel is that we always take a cab from the airport and then we grill the cabbie about where we need to go because it is a little bit of an extravagance, but it's so worth your while, you know, because who knows a town better than the cabbies? And you know, if you're onto a good one, then you're in luck. And the second one is that we always like if we see an old lady with like a shopping bag or like a little trolley, we're like, follow her because she knows where the good food is. She knows where the market is. And actually, we've been doing it all over the world. We're just like, if we see like a little old lady with a shopping bag, we're like, we follow them. And we had great success in Japan and in Sicily and in Alexandria when we went, because Alexandria it's an amazing town, such incredible energy. It is quite rough. And we stayed in a decent hotel and we asked the guy at reception, you know, where's the market? Like, how do we get to the market? And he's like, oh yeah, there's a really lovely shopping mall under the Four Seasons. Everybody goes there and you can get everything there. We said, no, like where do you like, where does your mom go? Like, where do you go? And there's like, no, it's not for tourists. He wouldn't tell us. And so we started grilling him, like, where do we go? Like, what is it? He said, okay, you can go here. There's a woman's needs market. We're like, what? What's a woman's needs market? He said, you can go there, woman's needs. We're like, okay.
He was evading the question for sure.
Yeah, it's like the biggest question is in history. What does a woman need?
Also, there's a market for it, which is amazing. This is like... But no, we went
so the woman's needs market is apparently it's like haberdashery and ribbons and fur trim and things like that.
Crafty.
But yeah, stuff like that.
Quite a bit of lingerie as well.
Lingerie, yeah.
But there we spotted a few old people walking with their shopping trolleys, and we started walking, you know, into the alleyways, and they are quite like tight alleyways, really dusty. You know, it's like because it rains very rarely. everything's got this like beautiful haze of like strong sun, dust. And we were walking through these alleys, and then we start like seeing a small, you know, like a street vendor with a massive trolley full of Cape gooseberries. Is that what you call them in America? I'm not sure. Yeah, like a massive trolley of them. So you're like, okay, a good sign. It means he's going somewhere with that. And you continue walking, and it slowly opens up into this most crazy, spectacular food market. All in alleyways, all like kind of vendors of everything, every smell, every flavor, every fruit and vegetable, but also every kind. It's got a live market still. So birds and rabbits and ducks and geese and everything alive. And for some reason, not in cages, which is very strange, just waiting.
Kind of bunnies, just lounging.
Just kind of waiting for doom. I don't know. It's really strange, but really evocative and really interesting. And everyone just wants to show you their, you know, what they bought, and everyone's kind of eating. And it was where definitely the local people were shopping.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it was amazing. I think we went back the next day again because it was just
you just couldn't take it all in. Couldn't take it all in.
And we love a food market. I mean, we always go and seek out the food market. It's just the best way to see a place.
I always tend to, even in a hotel, I buy things and I'm like, what on earth am I going to do? But I'm like, just can't help myself because it's so exciting. Like, it's not that I'm going to go buy flowers. I want to buy like weird olive that fish. Exactly. You're like fish, a bunny, maybe. I don't know. So I just read that passage in there about that market and in your book. And I think it's probably worth touching on about the, like the ease that some cultures have. Obviously I think that was that in Egypt as well? I can't remember. Yeah. And something that like you talk about the contrast to like our comfort around, seeing this lovely, what oftentimes like you describe as a pet that turns around, like is immediately like taken into the back and becomes dinner. And, I
not taken to the back in front of you, Renee. Not taken to the back. It's not taken to the back.
Oh, did you say it's taken to the back?
No, it does get.
There's more at the back.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, you follow it to its doom, like you say. But I think that's a really important topic. I think we, our cultures similarly, make it this thing like you describe it. This comes in this like little package that no longer resembles anything alive. And yeah, I mean, did you both grow up like in like the similar environment? Is it? I don't know if it's like that in Israel.
Well, you kind of when we grew up in Israel, we were kind of, I think, the transition period between these kind of markets and very clean sanitary supermarkets.
Right.
So I definitely remember the market. If you go to Jerusalem, and I hope we get there together one day.
Yeah. Oh my God, I would love that.
So the market in Jerusalem now, it's so cool. It's all like, sourdough bakeries and coffee roasteries and, artisan tahini makers. And it's super and really lovely restaurant. Fantastic. But, when I used to go there like on Friday with my mom, it was shocking. It was like, like you'd see lungs hanging and like tongues and stuff like that. For me as a child, I was like, whoa.
Tails.
Yeah.
Tails and live fish used to be very much a big thing to have like big kind of vats of water with fish that you would kind of get the guy to choose it for you and bash it on the head in front of you. So we kind of, but we're kind of probably the last generation in Israel to experience those markets. And it was nice to travel again to countries that are still there and kind of remember certain things. Some things are more extreme, I think, as well in Alexandria. But you also, it contrasts quite significantly, like in Thessaloniki, in Greece. We went to the market, and that's just an amazingly beautiful market. I mean, it's still got the lungs, and it's got like a bit of heads, quite a few heads of sheep and things like that. And because it's Greece, also quite a bit of pork bits lying around, because that's the only country really in the area we went to that cooks pork, because everyone else wouldn't really. But everything else is beautiful. You know, the fish is displayed in this like beautiful like ice trays, and everything's very aesthetic and beautiful. So I think it's a mix in the region as well of what you get to see.
Yeah. But in a way, I wouldn't, I'm not taking sides. I mean, coming back from Alexandria, I say, actually, I quite like my little Sainsbury's, down the road. It's fine for me. I don't need, I know that it's an animal. I don't need to see the guts and the glory. But
totally,
I think it was a memento of, or like a moment to remember what things actually look like.
Yeah,
I'm happy that I don't need to confront it on my daily
shop.
on my daily shop, but yeah.
It's always it's a good reminder, I think, to those of us that eat meat to have acknowledge that that somebody is actually having to kill this thing, which is a big deal. It's such a
it's a huge deal.
And I think having that honor for this animal that is going to feed you is pretty important, because I think a lot of times I think for sure here in America there's a really big disconnection to it being a live animal. So I think writing about that to me felt really important, so I was excited to see that in there, because it's a thing that like if even like I have some friends that are going to Hawaii, and they're wanted a list of restaurants, and so I told them my favorites, and then I also said, but for sure go to the market, because it's really unique. It has like turtles and fish that are alive, and some woman who's probably in her 90s, it's like chopping the head off a chicken, and it's like amazing. It's something that isn't common, at least not like you say, it's not down the street at your supermarket. So anyway, I thought that was really lovely.
It is. I think connecting to all our food, but I think we've also like tried to show in this book a lot that vegetables are just as important to everything you do. It's the biggest chapter in the book. It's a big passion of our lives, is to eat lots of fruit, lots of vegetables. So we're not saying don't eat meat, of course, but we're saying respect your meat, and also you can eat a lot of vegetables, and you can eat a lot of things that are really delicious on the fire.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you what's your favorite vegetable? I think I have an idea, but I'm just curious. Like, just throw it out. Like, if you were going to cook one right now, what would it be?
Well, I've got on the stove like a cabbage stew. I love cabbage.
Okay. Yeah.
I really do love cabbage. I
love cabbage, and especially on the grill.
That recipe in here is, I totally agree. Like, cabbage is magic, especially when it's
so good. I've had a difficult year because I had COVID, and one of the stupid side effects of COVID is that for some people is that it affects your taste buds, and I couldn't eat cabbage for almost 6 months, and honestly it's one of my favorite vegetables, and I couldn't eat it. It just tasted like petrol. So now it's back. So now I've got a cabbage stew on the stove right now.
But I will say this, favorite, I think I consider tomato a fruit. But
so it's not your favorite vegetable.
But if it was a vegetable, it would have been the tomatoes. But aubergines or eggplants are also a fruit.
That's my guess.
But for me, they're my favorite vegetables.
Your recipes for everything, I'm like, I literally am like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to the store and buy this right now and make it. Like,
they're so delicious.
They're so fantastic, and I think very much underutilized here in the States. So anyone that's buying,
you should say eggplants actually, so that everyone knows what we're talking about as well.
Right, but you say aubergine in the book, so
I'm gonna show. Well, it's true because it just didn't get translated. So this is the best dish.
The charcoal on the. I'm doing this tomorrow, by the way. I'm so excited.
It's so beautiful. We just kind of burn the whole thing until it's really like completely soft inside. Fill it with chili, garlic, lemon juice, tahini, and then a raw egg yolk that you just scorch with a piece of charcoal on the top.
Gorgeous.
So delicious.
So let's talk about fire and burning things, which is, especially in the vegetable category, like a thing y'all do, which I listened to your sweet potato talk, which was really fabulous. So yeah, let's, I think, again, kind of a form of cooking that we both adore. Also something that I think that scares people still, like they're really worried about burning something, which I think this
Yeah.
book encourages, which I love. So burning
Burning
it in the right way, you know.
Yeah, judicious burning, not just
Yeah.
like scorching things.
Don't like walk away 2 hours later, come back. But
Yeah.
No, I think when Itamar's been going on about cooking on fire for ever since I remember. And I
mean, our restaurant, Honey & Co., that was meant to be, you hear the sirens.
Sorry, yeah. This is London. There's lots of sirens.
We only hear them whenever we're in a Zoom, because
of course
we only notice it because otherwise we don't. But Honey & Co. was meant to be a grill house, so it was meant to be our kind of kebab shop, we always called it, but we couldn't do it there. So we had to open another restaurant. We had to open Honey & Smoke, which that was kind of like our tribute to the big fires of the Middle East and the big grill houses of the Middle East that we love so much. And this book was meant to be kind of the restaurant book. But we said, actually, won't it be more fun to go to the source and see kind of where the inspiration came from and look for that? Because we love, you know, I always love cooking on fire. I think there's something so magical about it. I mean, even before, you know, before the flavor, before the eating, just, you know, being next to a fire, I think for a human is it does something good for us. It relaxes us somehow. And I think we respond to that. You know, you can sit around a fire and just look at it. It doesn't need to do anything. It doesn't need to be a story, you know. It doesn't need to be, it's like watching TV, but with nothing happening.
But there's like a whole ceremony to it. You know, almost everywhere we went and traveled, the first thing everyone does is you finish kind of your trek or whatever. If you're going for a walk, if you're just having some people over, you start a little fire and you kind of almost don't pay attention to it. You just put a kettle on it with some water and you let that boil. And then when that comes off, you pick kind of herbs, or you kind of just throw a tea bag in and everyone just has tea. So it's a really mellow, it's got like a nice kind of pace and ceremony. It's not about coming in and putting food on the table and eating straight away. It's got this like lovely rhythm to it. And, you know, so you put this kettle on and it boils slowly and the fire mellows as it's happening, and you're sipping some tea and you're looking at the things, you're smelling the smoke and you're looking at the fire, and you straight away go into a different kind of, just a different mode, you know. And the thing about this restaurant, and when we opened this grill house, I realized, even though I'd been a chef for 20 years, now 24, but 20 years then, and I just didn't know how to light a fire. Because at home and when I was a kid, my dad would light the fire, and at some stage he taught my brother how to light the fire. And actually, even though I'd been cooking all my life, I'd never like taken pieces of wood and charcoal and paper and lit a fire. So once we had opened the restaurant and we had this grill, Itamar showed me the first time and I was like, I mean, I knew the theory, do you know what I mean? But it's just watching it and watching it like ignite and watching the smoke.
She's a pyro now.
No.
Yeah, a late bloom.
My point is, you can learn it at any stage in life. It's not something that, I mean, once you understand this theory of a fire goes up, it mellows down, then you treat it like any other source of heat. And then that's it, you know.
This is what I you know, if you can cook, or even if you can vaguely cook, then you can cook on fire. And it's not, you don't need to learn it almost. There's nothing, you know, there's no secret there. It's a lot easier to do than a lot of other things we do in our day-to-day life, you know. It's a lot easier than working our iPhones, or it's a lot easier than Excel. You know, it's natural to us. So it's just, I think it's just a matter of kind of demystifying it and just, you know, being like, this is a natural thing. This is something that we as a species been doing for the longest time. So
the thing that I always try to, I mean, even I think I go from my like city brain of like cooking and like being, you know, like having like a schedule, and then like really having to like have patience, which, you know, in restaurant cooking, I think it's so interesting because you're you're trained in a certain way, and then as soon as you start to cook on fire, it's like very different in the like process of getting there, which I love.
Yeah.
Like I love that
Yeah.
patience of waiting, and like you're talking about this like kind of ceremony around the process, which makes it, I think, that much more special, because it
Yeah.
you know, turning on I love that you say hob burner. So good. Oh, here comes a cat.
Oh,
This is Kitty B.
Hello.
hello.
Hello. She's
Last
great.
Zoom we did, we had a dog come in and it wasn't our dog. So that was surprising.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me, okay, so I'm just gonna pick at the recipes that I'm dying to cook. Tell me about almond tahini, and if that's traditional, if that's like your own thing. I love the texture. It looks very. I'm very curious.
And it's very traditional in 216 Great Portland Street,
I
which is where our restaurant is.
I love
We have it there since the moment we opened, in one iteration or another. You know, I think every kitchen has its own staples.
Yeah.
So one of our staple is the chili garlic dressing that we do for the aubergine and everything else, which I hope you try.
On the corn too. Is that
the corn has its own little thing going.
They each have like a little, yeah. There's little things that we use, like orfa chili and honey. Like orfa chili is like a smoked, really, really smoked chili, and doing that with honey and butter. There's a few kind of little things, but the almond tahini
is a big staple of ours, because it's just the most delicious thing. Like everything it's on is immediately incredibly delicious. And it's always kind of unjustified. It's always been on kind of the vegan dishes, which is, it saddens us because we want everyone to have it.
Loads of people have it.
Loads of people have it. So we would have the almond tahini on the go all the time. And with the seasons, we would change what it's going with. So we would have it with pear salad in the autumn, and we'd have it with sweet potatoes in the winter, and in the summer with grilled peaches. And we actually elevates everything it touches.
And we do a pistachio version that's almost the same kind of in spring season. So that goes with all the green vegetables, and that works really well. Yeah. But it comes from this place, you know, tahini is a big part of all the food of the Levant. But what's less talked about, or what I'm assuming, because it's probably a bit more expensive, are all these nut butters, but they're quite a big part as well. So like blitzing nuts a lot of times into sweet things, but a lot into savory things. So this version is ours. We keep it quite chunky. We keep the skins on. We keep it with texture, but it really is so satisfying.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that really, it's 3 ingredients. So delicious. Like, it takes split seconds to make, and it's so delicious. And everything you put it on is immediately much, much better.
And I'm assuming it lasts a while, yeah? Like it, I mean, probably.
Yeah, it does thicken. As it rests, it thickens, and it needs a bit of water or lemon juice adding kind of the next day, but it definitely lasts.
Yeah.
Amazing. Tell me about this amazing thing.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This, Renee, because when we're going to go to Jordan together, it's like a blanket. It's as big as a blanket, this flatbread, and like so soft and quilty. And we got this bread from a bakery as we were driving to the mountains. We were going to cook with beautiful Ramsey, who was showing us around Jordan, which everyone has to go. It's such a beautiful country, and such nice people that you cannot even imagine. Such friendly people and such amazing hospitality. So we were in the field outside this shepherd's hut, and we're making this tomato stew. So it's like tomato sauce, I guess. It's nothing very complex, but we're cooking it on the fire, and it comes out a little bit smoky. Some of the tomatoes collapse, some keep their texture.
Yeah, exactly that.
Exactly.
The most beautiful day we could spend, you know, in the mountains, and just like this simple food, and you tear pieces of this like blanket like bread that's kind of got this beautiful pattern that's stamped with these kind of stamps, so it doesn't create a pocket, but it stays flat. and you just tear pieces of it. You create something that's called like a cat's ear. So like a little fold that's like a scoop. And then you scoop out pieces of your tomato stew and shove it in your mouth.
It's just so perfect. So perfect.
It was delicious.
So perfect.
I think one of the things I love about, well, all of your books, but this one too, as I'm reading it, is your enthusiasm and like fun that you have. And even just in this tomato thing where you call it a party, soaking, like the tomatoes, the party, which I think is super charming and fun. Because I think there's, I think for us, like food is, cooking food is very normal. Like, it's easy. I mean, it's not like not without work, but like there's ease to it. Like we enjoy it, and it's like we aren't afraid to experiment and like have that. But I think for a lot of people, like there's a recipes are like fixed, and things aren't like you're not emotionally like reacting to it. And so your way of describing things in here is really charming in that way, where it allows people to kind of relax a little bit, which is the whole point. Like it shouldn't be stressful. It should be with this lovely experience.
Yeah.
All right, so far we got a couple questions. So before I forget, Miranda says the book is beautiful and she's curious about the pistachio tahini. Would you use the same recipes as the almond and just replace the almonds for pistachios?
Exactly.
Yeah. And
just do the same. We add a bit of lime zest because it really kind of pops the flavor. Bit of lime zest, and instead of lemon juice, we use lime juice.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's the same recipe. Like instead of the vinegar, we use lime juice, and it's really like fresh and zingy, and it works really well with the green vegetables.
So it's the same method exactly, just 6 times the price.
Totally. No joke. Oh man.
But also like incredibly delicious. Incredibly delicious.
You're like, it's worth it. Do you use
sorry, I'm interrupting, but like the pistachio thing, when we were in Turkey, in southern Turkey, which is another place that everyone should go to. Southern Turkey is just amazing.
Southern Turkey is where the food comes from. Like the home of food is there.
But like where we were, Gaziantep and Adana, it's like the capital of pistachio. They grade their pistachios. They have like several grades of quality of pistachio. And honestly, the ones we eat in the UK, they would consider cattle feed. It's not even like worth trying to eat them because they're so not green and delicious. And anyway, but we went to this restaurant. It had a pistachio aging room because they pick them and they age them. And they had 500 kilograms. What is that? Like a ton of.
Yeah, I don't know, but a lot.
A lot, like a whole room of pistachio nuts aging nicely, slowly, so that they keep vibrant and delicious.
But pistachios, is it? I don't know where it is in this book, but there's a picture of. Oh, here it is. Turkey, of course. This is amazing. Are these the grated pistachios? Like
yeah. Well, these are each bag like that. That's not even the pistachio room. That's just a market stall. Each bag of that has a completely different, what they call grade of pistachio. It's about size, it's about age, it's about complexity of flavor, I think variety. It's crazy. Like they're mad for pistachios. And every baklava, like for us in the Middle East, a lot of the baklavas are almond, sometimes peanut even, a lot of hazelnuts. But for them, it's just pistachio because every other nut is inferior.
It's like, what?
It's amazing. I think, it makes my co-op the bulk section look pretty lame. I'm like, this sucks. I want to shop here. We have another question. What are your favorite quick cook or no cook meals when you're tired or in a hurry? I usually spend more time cooking than eating because quality and flavor matter, but there are times when I wish I could just make something in 5 minutes and sit down and enjoy it. P.S. As a Londoner transplanted to California, I'm a huge fan of Honey & Co. and Honey & Smoke and miss coming in to eat so much. It's lovely to have the new book keep in touch with them.
We miss you, but also we're so jealous. We want to move to California.
We want to move to California and move everything there. No. I'll tell you
we're going to move to Seattle.
My quick fix is a tuna dip. I do like a tin tuna. I put it in a food processor. I open a tin. I get rid of the liquids there. Put it in a food processor, a bit of yogurt, a bit of mayonnaise, a bit of mustard, a bit of lemon juice, I sometimes a bit of chili or, you know, something with a bit of zing, whiz it up, and then I just eat it with loads of
Like lettuce or
with
potatoes.
lettuce, boiled potatoes, sometimes just a spoon. I don't eat pasta anymore, but when I used to eat pasta, cold pasta dipped in it, all these things, it's the quickest meal, like, and
But
it's delicious.
Also eggs. We do eat a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of we're big on our 10-minute meals, and eggs is the one thing that takes longer to eat than to cook. So if you have a good kind of omelet in your repertoire, you're set, aren't you?
Yeah, the egg is a thing, and I've mastered you barely cook it, so it takes like 2 seconds, which is, you know, I'm the same. I love that like curdy egg texture, but I don't have time to stand there, especially at home if I'm like, you know, I've got like 5 minutes and I'm leaving. But yeah, if you can manage to just barely cook it and then it keeps cooking this perfect texture and whatever kind of leftover sauce is kicking around with that. And yeah, I agree. Eggs are really
big believers in eggs. Yeah.
We have like at least once a week we have my dad's rolled cheese omelet.
You love that. That's the best. Okay, my next things. Gosh, the vegetable thing I think is probably the part that I've spent the most time looking at. I was wondering also about the shrimp and watermelon bit and how that's something that was there that you had, or is that like kind of a version of something that you both love, or?
It's kind of an interpretation of a really classic kind of beach snack, because when you go to the beach, what you have is kind of watermelon feta. It's like a beach snack.
Yeah.
You know, any kind of cafe, like the cheesiest kind of cafe back home, you would go to the beach, you'd sit there and you'd be like, yeah, get me some feta and watermelon, because it's exactly what you want in the sun. It's like juicy and cold and salty and just delicious. And then what did we see? I think we saw where did we see the watermelon being grilled somewhere? And we were like, why are they grilling watermelon? It must be horrible.
In Greece, in Saloniki.
Oh, it must have been in Greece. Yeah. We were like, why are they doing that? And then we grilled the watermelon. It is so delicious.
Yeah, I was super skeptical. I was like, why would anyone? Because I mean, watermelon is perfect. Let's say it. Like, watermelon is perfect. Why would you mess with it? You know, but it really works. It's really, really delicious, and the whole combo is wonderful. So we brought it back. We sell it in the restaurant all the time
in summer,
and it's such a wonderful summer thing. Especially, you know, if you don't mind getting your fingers a little bit dirty, then
you peel the shells. You should always grill the prawns in their shells because they stay so much juicier. And the feta adds the saltiness, and then a little kind of zingy dressing with the chilies and stuff. It's quite a nice dish. It's worth trying. Definitely in a nice summer day.
Mm-hmm.
A good nod to the whole old feta watermelon salad, but in a new way.
All the grilled everything, the grilled tomato, the grilled peaches, obviously the zucchini and everything is such I think we all kind of, I mean, I don't know if you do this, but I get stuck in some ruts where I like eat the same vegetable the same way. And I'm like, oh, this is dumb. Mm-hmm. So like putting it on the grill is such a perfect way. It's so easy, especially if you already have a fire going. And then it transports it into this, other place that you really, that's the only way to get that flavor out of it, which is such a nice thing.
Yeah.
All right.
And then Renee, fruit as well. Fruit is a really, like, it just benefits from fire so much. Like figs and peaches and pears. And it's just that kind of waft of smoke and something. It just makes them into something quite spectacular.
Well, I think that's a great, I mean, other than the fire building part, like the time spent like with that is minimal. You're just, don't touch it, leave it there and not mess with it. That's the biggest tip. But then like that with like honey or chilies or something all over it with, I mean, that's kind of, it's either dessert or dinner, whichever I think direction you want to go. But so I've been like fascinated with the whole kebab section, and particularly the lamb and aubergine one. Tell me
Yeah.
about that. That's fascinating. I've never seen this before. I'm like totally, I just want to go.
Did you see the picture of the long grill with like hundreds of them on at a
Yeah,
time?
there's one of you, I think, too, somewhere, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is insane. Like, holy, like what a
Yeah.
that takes some talent to manage that.
So this was again in southern Turkey, and this is kind of goes back to what we talked about before about the time. So we were there during Ramadan, which everybody's fasting during the day, and then they eat, and as the night falls. So we were lucky enough to be taken around town with like this
rows and
amazing
rows.
with beautiful Tayab, who has a massive restaurant there. It's amazing. And we came kind of just before nightfall, and they were lighting the grill. They were kind of in preparation for everybody wanting to eat.
Because the fast stops when night falls.
Yeah.
So that's when.
So they were lighting up the grills, heating them up, letting them get to like their fiercest heat, just so that when everybody can eat and everybody can come, they have to feed everyone at once. So it was kind of like this amazing concert of people coming in, and suddenly masses of food going on the grill. It's all going together at the same time, all cooked to perfection, because they don't, very rarely in the Middle East they don't serve anything pink. Your meat's cooked all the way.
But juicy, not dry.
It needs to stay juicy, and this is kind of the art of the.
But they have like
the grill guy,
like what you would have kind of in America, like a pit master. They have like the grill master. So there's like one older guy that you see his hands are like gloves, like leather gloves. He doesn't feel heat anymore, and he's just like touching the meat everywhere, making sure it's fine. And all these like younger boys kind of twisting the skewers and jumping them and maintaining the fire and flapping away. It's really like a whole ballet of like craziness of people.
But it's such a delicious combo, and that we've encountered a lot, and something really special happens, especially if you use really delicious lamb, and you get the aubergine not so chunky. They cook at the same time and kind of absorb each other's flavor and complement each other, and it's really magic. I hope everyone makes it.
Actually, everyone, like the episode that comes out today of the podcast, and it's free to download so people can listen, is all about like southern Turkey. I mean, I like all the episodes, but I was just listening to it again about it all kind of mixed together, and I just want to go back. It was just so much fun. Anyway.
Do you have is Israel the first place you're headed to if you get on a plane?
In theory, I'm heading there in a couple of weeks. Because I just had my second vaccine and I've just booked my ticket in response. We haven't seen our families for a long time. So quick trip to see parents. And it's been like over a year and a half now that we haven't seen anyone. So a bit too long, really. So we're kind of a quick flying in, big hugs and a lot. We're in the middle of this book tour, so I don't have a lot of time at the moment, but virtual book tour, I should say. It's not exactly a very live one this year. So that's the first one, and then hopefully Greece.
Oh, wow.
I hope so.
Yeah, we're hoping Greece soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I want to hear more about Greece. I've never been. I'm sort
No way.
Oh my God, you have not lived.
I know.
I've lived, Renee.
It's like top of the list now so I turned 50 next year. And so I was like,
what?
Greece. I know, right?
What are you talking about?
You are looking very good.
Thank you. But yeah, so I want to go somewhere I've never been. So Greece has been.
You should.
Too, but I really want to go to Jordan with you all too on another trip. Jordan and Egypt and Israel
and Turkey.
You know what? It's all amazing, but really, like, Greece is a bit out kind
Greece
of.
has its
it
own
has a special
magic.
place for us.
Yeah, it has its own magic. There is something so beautiful and honest and joyous.
Yeah,
no,
and it's not pretentious, and if you go to almost any island, unless you go to one of the really massively touristy ones. If you go to any kind of island, people are still kind of...
Even the massively touristy ones are gorgeous. The beaches are gorgeous.
No, of course. But I'm just saying, like, there's still this, like, beautiful authenticity and really simple food. It's all about beach, sunshine, and yeah, I don't know. Just last time we were there, it's like all these kind of old geezers going in for their morning swim. We were there in like January or something.
Yeah.
It was pretty chilly to swim, but they just do it every morning. This is just a way of life, you know? It's a special place. You should go.
You should definitely go. Athens is fantastic, and it's having such a well, when we were there last time, it was kind of, it felt like it was having such a beautiful moment because it was kind of rising up after really rough time. I hope it's still like that. It's a fantastic town. Thessaloniki is so much fun. It's so relaxed and chill. Seafood that is out of this world. So hospitable.
Yeah.
So hospitable that you cannot even, so friendly and hospitable. We loved it. And the islands, of course, are magic. So please, top of your list. Yeah.
And there's
birthday present.
There's a lot of wood, like grilling and cooking on the charcoal there too.
Yeah.
Loads. Like again, because it's the only place that you see pork. Loads of they have gyros places, so where you cook like, live fire pork. You get like this kind of Greek pita, which isn't exactly what we would know as a pita because it's got like punched.
Yeah.
Cookies.
Basically, it doesn't open. You put stuff on it and then you fold it over.
Oh,
so like think like a massive taco that you kind of fill with like grilled pork straight off the fire, tzatziki, like yogurt, cucumbers, and then like fried
Chips,
potatoes,
French
fries inside there. So
amazing.
carb on carb, lots of vegetables, lemon juice, and kind of mountain oregano, like wild oregano. And yeah, it's quite good.
Magic. I love that. That's where you had a podcast about the octopus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautiful watching you. I love that. We cook octopus the same way, where we just let it cook itself. And it's such a beautiful thing to, it's one of those things that the first time I was taught to do that, I was like, really? That's all I do? And now I'm like, there's no other way to cook an octopus.
Yeah.
It doesn't need anything else really. It just kind of does its own thing.
Yeah. I know we have, we're famous for octopus here in the Northwest. And, lately we haven't had it for a while because we haven't had a lot of boats out fishing. And a lot of the octopus that we would get in the restaurant is bycatch from up in Alaska. They would get caught in
really
big crab traps or something. And so they would end up, not going back in the water because they're dead at that point. So there's like the rest of the octopus that we would get here is all from, I think it's actually from Greece, because there's a lot of the smaller octopi, what is it? It's pusses, right? I can't remember anymore.
Octopods, I think.
We think.
Octopods. I like pusses. I think it's it's not correct, but it cracks me up. But yeah, like that kind of, again, like perfect thing to cook for guests because you have this thing all ready to go and then you just pop it on the grill and then it's like transported to this like place that's
and especially with for fish or seafood, it's very forgiving. It doesn't dry out, and it's actually one of the very few things that is improved by freezing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We get most of ours come frozen as well. They
helps them tenderize them a bit.
Breaks them down. I know. I remember 20 some years ago when I was learning how to cook, the beating the octopus and the cork and the, and I'm just like, God, like then it's like, no, just buy a frozen one. Don't do, stop
like half an hour.
Yeah. No more tricks. Just buy a frozen one. I love that. Let's see. There's another question, Miranda. I love it. She's like, I am going to ask all the questions. If you were having friends over for a relaxed barbecue, which dishes would you cook for them? And thank you.
Good question.
Yeah.
So I would light up the barbecue. I mean, I'm assuming summer because I'm an optimist. So the first thing that we do when we would light up a barbecue is throw in potatoes and sweet potatoes on the side, like by the embers, so they kind of cook slowly. I would definitely have corn on because I love corn so much. Definitely there will be aubergines on the fire. And I quite like to have things, and this is, again, the slowness of it. So would start, put the corn on, let everyone have some chicken wings.
I was gonna say
very
chicken
partial
wings.
to.
Chicken wings, it's the best thing.
It's
Top
the
10
best
food
thing.
of mine. Absolutely obsessed with chicken wings. I love them
Yeah.
so
There's a recipe in the book with pomegranate molasses and some chili and stuff. It's really nice. Definitely chicken wings.
Yeah. And then I would have like something a little bit bigger as well. So either a large chunk of lamb or maybe a big steak or something like this. I really love the theater.
You've missed the whole like seafood part in the middle. You've got to do some, some prawns and
summer is seafood.
They have to eat some
but
prawns.
we can't just recite the entire book, so we need to edit a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
We can't just say like page 1 to 300. It's not.
There's only 168 pages. No, but the whole thing is to give yourself a few things that have different timings so that it's relaxed, but some things cook faster. So a couple of if figs are in season, grilling a couple of figs and serving those straight away while you're kind of then cooking some prawns, then putting some wings on that take longer. And then you have another piece that's bigger. And as the potatoes and sweet potatoes in the embers cook, the bigger piece cooks. And then you have a kind of.
Yeah, but that's not like a light casual barbecue anymore. That's like a wedding.
Yeah.
All day. Yeah. What time would you start your fire?
You need to give it like 30-40 minutes, I think.
Before you intend to cook
eat.
anything.
Yeah.
No, before you intend to cook anything.
Yeah.
I think you need to give it some time. And if you're hungry, just put on a griddle pan on your stove and eat something quickly.
Make a scrambled egg and then.
Yeah. And then go out and start your fire, because you can't do it impatiently. You've got to give it some time. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Jane has a question. Apart from its yumminess, are you all interested in the health benefits of your food? With its focus on vegetables, nuts, olive oil, and other healthy fats, it is the healthiest diet we can eat for our bodies and our gut biome. Have you ever been tempted to dig deeper into that? A healthy honey cookbook that optimizes the balance between flavor, pleasure, health benefits, and calories? I'd be the first in queue if you do.
I mean,
we're not the best ad for it because we're kind of chubby.
I think for me, it's a really tricky area. I think we are being there's so much confusion about what we should be, what is correct, what is not correct. It's just such a murky area that even people with science degrees disagree. You know what I mean? I think even people that that this is what they do for a living don't really know what's the correct and what's not. So I don't know if we're authorities to give advice. I really am it's kind of a bugbear of mine, when people talk without authority or science behind them.
No, but it's good you can experiment on yourself. I think that's kind of, you can, in a good way. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean, for example, for years, I thought, a full vegetarian diet I was a vegetarian for 10 years and I thought this was really good for me. But actually later in life, when I changed to a much more kind of protein heavy and hardly any carb diet, I feel, for me physically, I feel much better on that. But I think you have to feed your body what it reacts really well to and what it doesn't. And you have to play around with that. And yes, we've kind of lived our life eating everything with olive oil, but we also have everything with tahini. And for a lot of people, tahini is a pure fat, but we call it a good fat. It makes your skin shiny. It's all relative. But, there's like Itamar was saying, every person you speak to about diets and what you should, everyone has a different opinion about what is good for you, how you live a longer life.
Yeah. So I think we're still on that journey. We cannot tell you what is good or not good for you, but we can definitely, without a doubt, tell you what's delicious.
Yeah.
This is our remit. This is our authority. So, and I think please be cautious about, people telling you what to eat and what you shouldn't eat, because they don't know, only you know.
Yeah, I like that. She says, thank you. I completely agree, but I've managed to lose 75 pounds. Wow, that's fantastic. Well
Wow.
done. Over the past year. And I think the secret has been by filling up on roast vegetables and tahini too, just a spoonful though. So I
The tahini diet, I can get behind that.
Yeah,
The tahini
there you go.
diet.
That's the book. I love
Just
it.
in itself, the tahini diet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm really weary about these things. And actually, now in the UK, there's this new thing. What's it called? Fast 800. That you eat 800 calories a day, and these are books, written by doctors. It's written by a doctor, so I'm not going to say you don't have the authority to say that. But to me, it sounds like I don't know how healthy that can be. But what do I know?
Well, I think unfortunately it's part of a bigger campaign of marketing and selling shit to people.
Yeah.
It's more about that than, and I don't know. I grew up in the 80s, and I remember the grapefruit diet and the, there's just, it's just, now it's 2021 and we have a new version that's being sold to the world. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It is pouring down rain right now. Holy moly.
Really?
It's not sunny here. Everyone can see my.
Maybe we've sent it over to you guys. Oh, that's what our weather has been like.
You have such a nice place
for me. It's sunny here. Yeah. I was like, nobody's gonna be able to see me because it's just gonna be like all sunshine when I turn my camera.
Over here in Ballard. Wow.
I'm headed this way, I guess.
Yep. Totally.
This has been so much fun. I didn't interrupt. Renee, if you had another question you're gonna ask, go ahead. I'm just joining in now.
Oh no, I love it.
We didn't get to talk about your fantastic book, but we are gonna get to do it.
I think I loved like this book coming out and very, having a very similar kind of outline in regards to how we find joy in being inspired around food. It was really, I love that. It made me very happy to see this because it feels similar to mine in that way. And I think, obviously I'm a massive fan of your food. And so yeah, I feel really honored to get to sit here and chat with you both. It's so nice. I can't wait to come eat though, more importantly.
Soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to do the all day cook. We'll just keep cooking food.
Good.
Right.
This has been great. Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you so much, Sarit and Itamar, and congratulations on your wonderful book. I've marked my things I'm going to make this weekend, so yeah.
What did you mark? Show us.
Oh, we know you have the cooking facilities for it. Seeing as
I do. I have everyone. I bought one of those pizza oven things over the break, so I've called it. So I'm making my flatbread in that. I think. So I'm gonna do the.
Oh, this is so beautiful.
I just nearly drooled. And also, I am going to do these kebabs. And look, the onions.
Nice.
Picture. So you were so nice to give me the idea to do the onions. And I might try the cheesy bread.
Oh yeah, do that. We cooked that yesterday in a class again, and it was so nice. Try it.
Yeah, she's beautiful too. I love that.
She's gorgeous.
Oh, these women were so beautiful.
And I'm making a salad.
So nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Yeah, you can get the book at booklarder.com. And like I said, we will send the video out afterwards as well. Thank you. And I can't wait to see you guys in July.
Thank you so much for having us, guys.
See you quickly.
Come see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.